right, Inga. You've locked yourself out, you silly girl. Don't forget this damn machine. What on earth is going on around here? Who's it? Is there someone there?
The human man. We must find him and kill him.
Whether invoked or not invoked, evil will come.
You run bastard! Come out! I kill you! Where are you? You murdering bastard!
Hello everybody, welcome to the fourth episode in our Donald Pleasence season, where we will be talking about Warrior Queen. But before we get to that, let me introduce myself. I am Adrian Smith, and with me is our very own Warrior King. It's Rod Barnett.
I prefer Viking King, but I am an aged one now, and so all battles will be have to done by my second. So,
right, you're the king who's sitting on the big throne at the end of the drinking hall, just watching the younger Vikings carousing.
Yes,
whilst, stroking your battle scars.
Stroking my battle scars and wishing that arthritis wasn't a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how are things with you? What have you been up to lately?
Oh, just working, dealing with various physical ailments and bizarre happenings in my family, and watching the occasional film. That's about as far as it gets, really.
Mm-hmm. And any podcast episodes or commentary tracks you want to plug? This is our plug section.
Well, there are 2 commentary tracks that are completed and in the hands of the people who will be placing them upon Blu-rays eventually, but neither of them have been announced and so cannot be talked about. One of them was with someone who sounds suspiciously like you, and the other is with my podcasting partner from the NashiCast, Troy Gwynn. Neither of us can speak about these as yet, so can't really talk out loud in the world about those. And the podcasting is about to finally get back on track. Thank goodness. In the next few weeks, I'll be recording, I think, 3 different podcasts, trying to get everybody back in line and get everything moving in motion. I'm really happy. One of the things that we're going to be talking about is I'm trying to juggle things around and push outside my box. Look around and I had a friend suggest covering a really cool blaxploitation film. If you've never seen it, it's Truck Turner. So we're going to be doing that one soon.
Oh yeah,
love that
Isaac
movie.
Hayes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how do you make sure that you get an Isaac Hayes theme song? Well, you put Isaac Hayes in your movie. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cool. Yeah, good. Well, I think we could probably say, just out of sort of passing interest, that Kino have announced that they are in the process of releasing a new restoration of Waves of Lust.
This is true.
It was directed by Ruggero Deodato and would no doubt be of interest to many of our listeners.
And you have spent a little bit of time with Mr. Deodato, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm. Yes, briefly. Very nice guy.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Sadly, no longer with us. But yes, keep an eye out for that release when it comes out. Keep an eye out for that release when it comes out, if I can speak without needing to cough my lungs up. In fact, I'm just going to look. Oh, they have.
They have?
They have, yeah. Just looking at it now. Yeah, so Raro have announced that they're releasing Waves of Lust, and they have put on there that there is a commentary by the film historians and hosts of Wild Wild Podcast.
Oh, I know those guys.
Adrian Smith and Rod Barnett. And they've also included the deleted scenes and the Italian making of documentary Erotic Tsunami.
Oh, that's a good little documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, as well as a few TV commercials that were directed by Deodato around that time. So, yeah, anyway, so there you go. So that is actually one that we did that is coming out in June.
Well, thank goodness we can now actually speak out loud about it.
There's another one that we did about 2 years ago that still hasn't come out. By the time that thing is available, we'll be able to listen to it and go, wow, didn't we sound so young?
I know. We will sound like different people.
Yeah, amazing. Anyway, good. Okay, that's, yeah, I don't think I've got anything particularly that I can mention apart from that one. So let's crack straight on with this next film as we plough through the work, the sterling work that Donald Pleasence was doing in the 1980s in Italy or with Italian filmmakers. We are, of course, talking about Chuck Vincent's Warrior Queen. Cue the music.
What do you think of the music in this film? Yeah.
Memorably forgettable.
That is one of the best descriptions of a piece of music I think I have ever heard in my life. And you're correct, sir. It is like so much in this film. In one eye, out the other. In one ear, out the other. I think I felt something exiting me through my large toe. But yes.
Yeah. Well, first, at least it's short.
Okay. All of these films that we're covering are Donald Pleasence making movies in Italy, and I have to say that this movie only barely crosses that line. In that it was shot in Italy, yes, no argument. But most of the people behind the camera were the movers and shakers, the ones who actually, called, action and cut and put the film together, were not Italians. And you mentioned that it was directed by Chuck Vincent, and he kind of leads the pack in the what's this guy doing working in an Italian, warrior queen style film.
Well, I can answer that question.
Well, yeah. Have you seen any of his other work? Would be the first question I would ask. But yeah,
I would know. So Chuck Vincent was an adult filmmaker in the 70s who then moved into kind of softcore and occasional other films in the 80s.
Yep.
But no, I don't think I've ever seen anything else. How about you?
I'm gonna take the fifth. No, okay, yes, I've seen some of his other films. I am. I'm not gonna tell you which ones, but yeah. I've seen some of his other movies. I have.
Well, I know that he had a big hit with one called Misbehaving, which I know about, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've not seen that one. I saw. Oh man, okay, a couple of titles. I'll admit to. I saw Roommates. And that's the only one I'm going to admit to. But in the low budget, not porno films, but might as well be films, things like Hollywood Hot Tubs I saw back in the day, and things like that. So
yeah. He moved into the sex comedy, which was obviously the big thing after Porky's and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he even made one called Preppies. Like, how much more do you want people to accidentally think they've borrowed Porky's? Can you get like even the video cover looks like Porky's with that one? Yeah, but he went into the more sort of mainstream market because he had struck a deal with the guy behind Vestron Video, and so he had a 10 picture deal. This guy called Austin First signed him up, so he had a 10 picture deal for kind of straight to video stuff for Vestron Video, and then also Harry Alan Towers, the legendary producer who made stuff, Jess Franco stuff in the 60s and the Fu Manchu films of Christopher Lee and just all kinds of good stuff, as well as he had a long career in radio. He did the the Third Man radio series with Orson Welles.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. Harry Alan Towers, fascinating guy. He got into some legal trouble at one point in America. It's very interesting to read his autobiography. He was very good at just traveling around the world, getting international co-production deals, and bringing people like Oliver Reed and Jack Palance and other kind of second tier leading actors, and he'd get them to come to some corner of Africa to make a Edgar Wallace adaptation, and he'd get all the funding together, and it was all kind of loose, and you don't know how he managed to do it, but he would do it, and he made a career out of that. So he's a really interesting guy. By the 80s, he said in his book that he'd become aware that the video market was growing, so he introduced himself to Austin first at Vestron Video. So that's how this all came together, and Harry Alan Towers' name is on this film, even though it seems like an unlikely mixture of people, like you said.
It really is. And the thing about Harry Alan Towers is, yes, as the 90s rolled on and he continued to produce things, it was generally not a sign of quality. It was not a place I wanted to follow him very often. I mean, once you get past the ubiquitous things like Delta Force 3 and the other Chuck Norris film, The Hitman, and things like that, you look around and there's some interesting stuff scattered in the 90s. The Mummy Lives is absolutely terrible, but you must see it at least once. And The Mangler in 95 and a lot of interesting stuff. Don't get me wrong, but one feels that the story of how some of these movies got financed would probably be more interesting than the movie that was produced out of the financing. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
And that has to have been true of this particular movie. We'll get to that later on. But, I feel that I tend to want to follow him around whenever I see that he's like, for instance, his 1989 version of 10 Little Indians. It's like, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, the story's rock solid, right? So how can they screw it up too badly? And it's almost an unbreakable story. It's so good that what are they going to do? And and of course Harry Alan Towers finds ways to submarine the 10 Little Indians story, the classic Agatha Christie story, a few different ways, such as being cheap on his acting sometimes, but.
Well, he was very good at recycling his own scripts as well, because he did 10 Little Indians in the mid-70s, I think, with Richard Attenborough.
Oh, yeah. He would just change the location.
Yeah, he would often remake his own films. I mean, even in the 60s, he was recycling scripts. But this one is based on one of his own scripts. He'd written a screenplay called Pompeii, and then gave it to the Vestron guys, who gave it to Rick Marks, who was another script writer with, I say script writer. He'd written some scripts for Vincent in his adult film days. I don't know how much of a script you needed but like I said, I haven't seen any. Maybe they're very literate. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. So like you said, though, the story of how the films got made is always going to be more interesting than most of the movies.
Yeah.
But he did write an autobiography in the late 90s, I think, that's well worth reading. It's called Towers Over London.
Yeah, you're right, I do need to read that.
It is pretty entertaining. Yeah, it's very good. I think it was sort of self-published, and it really needed an editor. Like, nobody touched that thing. It just went straight into print, and it could have done with a bit of trimming. But anyway, it is very interesting to read. And he was in business with his mum for years, like it was a kind of family concern. And he was one of the first independent radio producers back when the BBC in the UK just was the only radio. He set himself up as an independent radio guy, which nobody was doing. So he was quite groundbreaking in lots of ways. But yeah, his international co-production deals are quite astonishing sometimes. I think it was mainly just because he couldn't really go back to America without trouble. the FBI or
Somebody was gonna serve him with a subpoena. Yeah.
yeah. So I think he must have got Sybil Danning and Donald Pleasence into this film.
Probably.
That's my suspicion. Whereas Chuck Vincent brought some of the Penthouse pets and also one of his former adult stars, Stacia McCullough, who is credited here as Samantha Fox.
Yeah, that's the
which
name.
Is very confusing.
Yeah, that's the name she was most well known under, and it is confusing because she's not.
It's confusing for any Brits.
Yeah, she's not the singer Samantha Fox. Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, yes, singer in inverted commas. I mean, in the UK in the 80s, Samantha Fox was a page 3 model for the Sun newspaper, and then just like everyone did in the 80s, she had a go at making a musical career. But yes, it's not the same one anyway. Just in case anybody was thinking, oh,
they look very different to say the least.
Yes, yeah. It's an interesting film, and then as if it wasn't already interesting enough behind the scenes, somehow Vestron Video got Film Mirage involved. So Aristide Messachesi, aka Joe D'Amato,
he's involved,
and Donatella Donati, they came on board, I think, as line producers. Although Film Mirage is not credited as the producer, but they were involved in getting the location and probably getting David Brandon on board.
I would suspect, yeah.
Yeah, and the long, interminably boring orgy sequences, I feel like that was probably second unit directed by Joe D'Amato. I don't know.
It may well have been. From what I understand, even in his porn days, Chuck Vincent had very little interest in actually directing the actual sex and would turn that over to assistants. So that would not surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. But then in the middle, you've got this great, really funny performance from Donald Pleasence, who must have looked around and saw how threadbare this film was.
Oh, yeah.
But just figured, well, I'm here now.
I'll just go for broke, yeah.
I'll just have fun with it because he's really funny.
he's the one who's really throwing himself into things. Although I have to say, I do think that we have a pretty solid, muscular He-Man actor as Marcus, the character played by Rick Hill, also known as Deathstalker. I think he's eye candy for the ladies, and he by this time knew exactly how to play that kind of role. He's not given the opportunity that Donald Pleasence's character is to like find scenery and nosh on all of it. But those are the two performances where I'm like, well, these two guys seem to actually know what kind of film they're in, you know. Yeah.
Whereas Sybil Danning doesn't seem to know she's in a film.
Well, that's just it, man. I mean, I don't mean to be cruel here, but it did feel as if the character. It did feel as if the character was shoehorned into this thing.
Yeah, and yet she's supposedly the main character.
Yeah,
but she has even fewer lines of dialogue than Christopher Lee in Dracula.
She doesn't say a single word in this movie for the first 35 minutes, and she's on screen a good chunk of that time, and there comes a point where you're like, okay, so we've seen her in badly choreographed sword fighting that really needed a second take to be even remotely believable, and we've seen her change her facial expression a few times, and that's been about it. I mean, what is happening here? And it's such an odd. I mean, I guess the story was written with this character in the center of it because that's, she's the person who Donald Pleasence's character is attempting to impress. That's
what is it he keeps calling her? His lovely princess.
Yeah. Over and over. Madness.
Yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, she's like comatose in this film. She just sort of drifts through.
Yeah.
With this permanent sneer on her face, which you start to wonder whether that is acting or if that's just how she felt about the whole production.
Well, I do wonder. Okay, that's not true. There are a few times when she's attempting to be entertained by Donald Pleasence's character Claudius, And I was amused by the name being Claude. Yes, that's
Yes.
that's nail and head. Yeah, right. Exactly. Good job, folks. But I have to say, she's acting as if she's bored, and so she's feigning a yawn. But I have to say, she's not a good enough actress to make me convinced that she's actually yawning. That's sad to be able to say. Like, I can fake a yawn better than that, Sybil. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. So I just, I don't know if you saw the new sort of Pulitzer-esque Eurocrime triple bill that Vinegar Syndrome just announced.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, but yeah.
Yeah, and one of the films in that is Cobra Mission, which is Franco Nero and Sybil Danning. So I was asked if I could do something. So I wrote a booklet essay.
Wait a minute, Cobra Mission? Are you sure that's the title?
Not Cobra Mission, Day of the Cobra.
Day of the Cobra.
There's too many B-movie Cobras in my life. Day of the Cobra. Yeah, Sybil Danning is in that. So I wrote a booklet essay on the sort of European career of Sybil Danning. And I called it Warrior Queen. That's the name of the essay.
That's a good title. I mean, she's,
It's quite iconic. And she especially like in the 80s, she buffed up and she did a lot of action stuff. That's what she was known for.
Well, that's just it.
She was always doing action. So it makes sense to call it Warrior Queen.
Yeah, well, once she appeared in Battle Beyond the Stars and that first Luigi Cozzi Hercules film, there was a certain cachet in having Sybil Danning be in a film of this type. But man, you kind of needed, to be blunt, you needed a more interesting script and a director who had a little bit more flair and style. My God, this thing it's directed like somebody's making a cheese commercial.
Yeah, it's a shame because like she could have been an iconic warrior queen, and the poster is great for this film. It makes it look like it's a sort of Conan the Barbarian type thing.
The poster's gorgeous. Yeah, it's a Boris Vallejo painting, and it's just if the movie were 1/50th as awesome as that painting, the movie would be legendary. Yeah,
because it's got her standing there in a metal bikini with a red cloak, holding a sword, with her six-pack truly on display, and she's got really buff muscles and she looks great. But of course, none of that happens. She barely even uses a sword, although she does chop a guy's head off. But it's so quick. Like, she doesn't get to do much in the way of action at all. And it's really hard to tell. I mean, we should probably talk about the plot in a minute. But like, the central conceit is, or in certainly the plot summaries I read, she has come here specifically to set free some slaves. But when you're watching the film, it doesn't feel like that was ever her mission. It kind of feels like she's just happened to stumble across something and she's kind of half-heartedly wafting her sword around. But it doesn't feel like she was ever there to do it on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't seem like somebody who's got a mission, because she's mostly just sitting around looking bored.
Yeah, I think the reason that we don't get a really good look at the decapitation and the opening scene is probably because the effect was bad. And the reason I say that with some authority is that the next scene we see a couple of fake heads that are mounted on pikes, and they're terrible. I mean, they're just awful looking. They're and I can't even figure out in that scene, the scene in which we see the one head on a spike, and then we randomly intercut people apparently throwing rocks or food or something at other heads on pikes. I can't tell where that's happening in the scene. It doesn't make sense. I've watched it 3 times. I've watched that segment 3 times trying to figure out if I'm just missing some visual detail that will explain itself to me. And it's just one of those things where it's like they desperately wanted to get that into the movie, I think. And it's like, we know it doesn't fit, but we're going to just edit it in anyway.
Fair enough. Before we get into we'll talk about the plot, but so we've mentioned obviously Donald Pleasence, and he has a lot to do here. Do you have a favorite Sybil Danning film from her extensive back catalogue?
That depends on how you phrase that, because on the holy crap, I can't believe I've watched this movie as many times as I have, there is nothing weirder than the performance she gives in the miserable Howling to Your Sister is an Exorcist. Mainly because the movie...
Your sister is a werewolf, isn't it?
Yeah, Your Sister is a Werewolf. What did I say? Good Lord.
Exorcist. But that would be a fun twist.
Oh, that would be fun. I could do that. Werewolf cross with an exorcist. I'm good with that. Anyway, no. I mean, that's kind of legendary because of her repetition of her popping her top. That's both in the movie and then under the closing credits, as if they knew that's the only reason anybody came to see this movie in the first place. But honestly, I do get a lot of joy out of her in Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
And I think she plays a neatly wicked character in Chained Heat in 1983. And here recently, I did finally see, just in the past couple of years, because it was put out on Blu-ray, I did enjoy her in, it's not a very good movie, but she and Jack Taylor have fun together in The Panther Squad. It's not a very good movie, but I did enjoy her in that.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I was expecting you to go straight to The Three Musketeers.
No, man, that's just it. Her role in that film is so freaking tiny. I mean, it's just... I know, yeah. It's like, it doesn't... It's like you see her name in the credits and you're like, she's in there? Where?
Like, oh, where is she? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was during her... That was obviously early in her career when she was just getting started. But yeah, I would definitely go for Battle Beyond the Stars and Hercules as well.
Yeah.
Luigi Cozzi's Hercules, definitely two of my favorites. And I love her sequence in Amazon Women on the Moon as well. That's very funny.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
that is. Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And how about we mentioned the huge back catalogue of Harry Alan Towers? Do you have any? Oh wow! Are there any highlights for you from his extensive work?
Well, I'm going to mention up front a real surprise. I only in the past year or so finally watched the 1989 version of The Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund. And was expecting...
yeah, okay. I'd forgotten he did that.
I expected it to be a train wreck, and I was shocked to really enjoy it. So, I wanted to point that out just because, my goodness, how did that happen? I'm serious. I really am serious. But if you want to talk about the ones that I'm an actual fan of, that I really am impressed by, movies that I'm glad exist. He was the producer of a number of Jess Franco films that I'm a huge fan of. Even though people love to run it down, I love Franco's Count Dracula. The Dorian Gray film I like a lot. Justine and The Girl from Rio, those early Fu Manchu movies, the first three I really enjoy. Once Jess Franco was making them, I like them a lot less. I'm serious, man. Those first three Harry Alan Tower Fu Manchu films are a blast. I enjoy the heck out of them.
Yeah, really good.
But that's just it, though. I mean, his films. Even the ones that I've enjoyed but don't think are great, I'm never unhappy that I watched them, because they are. You can see someone trying. Even the weakest of them, it's somebody trying. I mean, this is a guy who's tried to make who's made and remade Treasure Island over and over again, right? I mean, this is a guy who wants to tell these big grand stories, and he doesn't always have the money, and he doesn't always have the right people in place, but at the same time, I'm glad he was out there making movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to slap him for the movie The Shape of Things to Come from 1979. My God, what a boring movie.
Yeah.
It's just...
I'm not sure I've even seen it.
Oh, it's so painfully boring. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But still, I'll take that, because he also produced the equally god-awful gore movies. The movies that were an adaptation of these John Norman fantasy novels that I read as a kid. because they were dirty. And then I see he produced 2 movies of them, and they're miserably bad. And it was the fact that they were miserably bad helped me realize that I could openly, honestly say to everyone in the world that the novels were terrible too. It's just, they're bad. They're so bad.
Yeah. I'd forgotten, just looking back at his list, that he also did 10 Little Indians in the mid-60s as well, starring Fabian.
Oh yeah, 60s, 70s, and late 80s, yeah.
I just fairly recently watched Jules Verne's Rocket to the Moon from 1967, because that's in one of those Tales of Adventure sets from Imprint.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd never seen it before. It's really funny. It's directed by Don Sharp, and it's got Terry Thomas in it, who's really funny, Lionel Jeffries, Gert Frobe. It's got Dahlia Larvey, Edward D'Souza, all these people, Burl Ives. It's Graham Stark, like loads of really well-known funny people. Dennis Price as well, really good. And then it's got handsome American Troy Donahue as well for the ladies. Hermione Gingold. Like, it's really good. It's another one of these kind of big, crazy, mad world type films. It was released in America as Those Fantastic Flying Fools, so try to cash in on the Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machine type thing. But that one is very good. So I'd never seen that before, but really enjoyed that. If anyone hasn't seen it, that's my Harry Allen Towers recommendation of the day. Really funny. But also I like his Edgar Wallace stuff, like Five Golden Dragons and
Million Eyes of Sumeru. That's a blast.
Yeah. All that stuff. Anyway, yeah. So shall I do a plot summary?
If you feel it will help us through.
So I have mentioned before that one of the reasons I suggested this season is because I was writing a chapter for an academic collection on Donald Pleasence. And then, much to my surprise, it turned out I had to write it much earlier than I thought I did. So I actually wrote it a couple of months ago, the first draft anyway. So I've got my own plot summary here because I couldn't find one. I found one good review of the film in Variety, but they don't actually really summarize the plot. So I've just got my own plot summary here just to make things easier.
This film actually got a review in the New York Times. I mean,
Oh, did it? I didn't find that one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe I just didn't look.
I'm sorry, not the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times. Pardon me.
Los Angeles Times. Oh, really? Have you got it there? Do they have a plot summary?
Oh, yeah, I've definitely got it here. It doesn't have a real plot synopsis, but it does have some amusing statements about the movie. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, throw those in when they're relevant then.
Okay.
Because the Variety one's pretty funny as well. So Donald Pleasence plays Clodius, the consul of Pompeii, who rules enthusiastically over its debauched citizens and presides at the gladiatorial combat in the Colosseum. He is a jolly, dim-witted Roman whose relationship with his wife Philomena, that's played by Stacia Mikula,
Samantha Fox,
is somewhat strained. Is somewhat strained owing to her sexual obsession with one of his prize fighters, Marcus, Richard Hill. Now, I did wonder whether this is the only time Donald Pleasence had to play the husband of a character played by a former porn star. I don't know if that's... It's a bit of a niche category, but...
It is, yeah. I mean, I think that we could probably gamble that it is the only time. But then again, we've got 6 more films to go that he made in Italy that we're going to talk about as this goes on. So who knows?
And she, this isn't in my plot summary, but she's constantly sort of desperately trying to get him into bed with her, and he's constantly putting her off.
Yeah, she desperately wants some.
Right?
She desperately wants some Deathstalker. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but isn't she also trying it on with Donald Pleasence, and he keeps?
Oh, I don't.
He's also.
I don't know. She seems to keep turning up her nose like he smells bad. Yeah.
But it's mainly the gladiator. Yeah, or maybe he's trying it on with her, and she says no. I can't remember.
He keeps referring to her as his miserable wife.
Yeah, although because he also a couple of years before this he was in Treasure of the Amazon, the Rene Cardona Jr. film, where his co-star is topless the entire time. He's just riding around on a horse and she's riding along next to him on a horse. And he seems perfectly fine with that. He was game for anything, I think. Donald
I
Pleasence,
think that
by this point in his career,
as long as there was plenty of sunscreen on that poor woman, I'm sure he was fine with it.
yes. Anyway, back to the story. So he spends most of his time trying and failing to impress Queen Berenice, Sybil Danning, who is the consort of Emperor Titus and has seemingly come to Pompeii for a holiday. It is very much the Brighton of ancient Rome.
resting in the foothills of Vesuvius. Yes.
Yeah. So I wrote here, Berenice hails from Palestine, is handy with a sword, and spends her spare time rescuing beautiful blonde maidens from rape and murder. And initially it seems like maybe she's come here because these women that she rescues, they are also from Palestine, I think, because they're all wearing a special necklace.
Yeah. That's how she.
So then you start.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say that's how she gets interested in the blonde that everyone seems a little fixated on in the film. So yeah,
because there are two. There's Vespa and Veneria.
Yeah.
And these are names like, I don't know if you're familiar in America with the sitcom from the 1970s called Up Pompeii, starring Frankie Howard. Did that ever make it to your shores?
It did not.
So it's hard for us in the UK to talk about anything to do with Pompeii
because of that,
without just thinking of Up Pompeii. Yeah. So Frankie Howard had this sitcom called Up Pompeii where he played a slave, and all of the people have got ridiculous, funny names, like, Veneria and Lurcio, or Lurcio, I think a Scrubber. There's one called Scrubber. And like they're just the silliest kind of cod Roman names.
I do wonder how the big Lou Ferrigno looking guy got the name Goliath, but still.
Yeah. Like in the sitcom, there's a character called Ammonia. There's a woman called Erotica.
Erotica.
You got Nauseous. Yeah, Ludicrous Sextus. That's another one. It's basically a four.
This sounds like a variation on that hilarious scene in Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a forerunner to Biggest Dickus.
Yeah.
And what's Biggest Dickus's wife's name?
Oh God, I can't remember the wife's name. That's terrible.
That's gone out of my head. Anyway,
do
yes,
you
it's very
find
similar.
my friend's name funny?
I have a very good friend in Rome called Biggest Dickus. Anyway. Yes. So there's a bit of that here.
This is the road we've traveled down because of you, Adrian. Because of you.
Sorry. So it's just because one of these women's names is Veneria, just makes me think venereal.
Yes,
which makes
exactly.
me think of Up Pompeii. So it's very funny. So so she comes to rescue these two penthouse pets who had very limited acting careers. There is an interesting scene early on that's actually... So I should also say, this film was released in two versions. There was an R rating version that was about 69 minutes long. But then the full length version was 80 minutes long.
79 and some seconds, yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually some pretty strong stuff in this opening act when these two girls have arrived, these two slave girls, and they're taken to a sort of slave market. But I don't know. Do you want to have a go at describing, without getting too detailed, what occurs in this kind of slave market thing? How the women are displayed.
It's a slave auction, and each of the slaves is stripped down and then dangled either upside down or from their hands from the ceiling so that everybody can get a good look at them. And I did wonder how they decided who was going to be strung up by their hands and who was going to be strung up by their feet. It didn't seem to be it didn't break down along gender lines. I couldn't quite figure it out.
No, but it's pretty explicit.
Well, I mean, it's full frontal nudity, both male and female. And that's the thing we should emphasize to people is there is not a version of this film that I'm aware of that is actually X-rated, that is actually pornographic. There's
No.
there's just a good deal of extra softcore nudity, including a long, way too long lesbian encounter between the Palestinian blonde and the African American. Well, I can't. I can't. I'm not. It's two slave girls. The black woman is essentially initiating.
Yeah, she was unlikely to be.
She's definitely not African American.
She's unlikely to be African American in Pompeii.
Not in not in AD 79. You're right, but there's an extended softcore lesbian initiation sequence between the two of them that as they have said in the past about films of this type, stops everything dead in its tracks. There are and then right before that, as they're leading this young blonde who we're told is a virgin, which is a big selling point for the auctioneer. She's being led into this place before to the room where she's going to be initiated by this other woman into what her job is going to be from now on. Where we pass by various couplings, and I'm sure that is the kind of thing that is trimmed more tightly in the shorter version of the film, because people are simulating sex acts. There's nothing, not that you see anything other than just nudity, but it's very obvious that these are simulated sex acts, and I'm a little shocked, to be honest, that there isn't a pornographic version of this film, since it seems set up to very easily exist.
I was going to make a joke there about full frontal nudity and things being trimmed, and how this is the 1980s, so there wasn't much trimming involved. But I decided not to go with that joke.
Well, I'm glad that you showed the class that I've come to expect from you, Adrian. That's impressive. Yeah.
It's taken a lot of restraint,
Yes.
which is also something that occurs often in this film. Yeah, so so Queen Berenice, she turns up in Pompeii. She walks straight into this slave auction, and like immediately gets cross at these women being hung upside down and all of that sort of stuff. And so that's where you start to think, oh, maybe she's come here on purpose. She hasn't just come for a holiday. But then she spends most of the rest of the film sitting around looking bored.
Yeah.
Whilst Donald Pleasence, while Clodius tries to entertain her first with a meal. Then I think, doesn't he take her to the orgy?
There's a meal with various sad acts of entertainment.
Yeah, gladiatorial combat.
There's the arm wrestling sequence with
yeah.
poison.
That's really going to help your appetite, isn't it? If you watching people kill each other whilst you're trying to eat your dinner.
Hey, apparently for some it enhances things. I don't want to know these people, but apparently,
Years ago, I took students on a trip to Disneyland in Paris, and one of the things that we could go to was a big dinner and a show, and it was a cowboy sort of Western type show. So there was an arena, and you've got horses and shootouts and arrows and all of that kind of action going on whilst you're sitting there trying to eat your dinner. And I just found the whole thing so unpleasant and off-putting, particularly just the smell of horses while I was trying to eat this food. I just sat there thinking, this does not work as a format. Either watch the show or eat your dinner. I just don't want to do both at the same time. And so I was imagining that with this, where you're sitting there while you've got these sweaty gladiators killing each other in front of you. And you're like, oh, pass the marmalade.
Well, I'm guessing, if we're to be honest, the hideous smells that one would be subject to throughout the entirety of walking around the actual city of Pompeii in AD 79, I'm sure the smell of a dying gladiator is pretty low on the list of awful. But
True. And then, so he takes her, because she's continually unimpressed. So then he takes her to the Colosseum, and they clearly only
and we see footage from a higher budget film.
Yeah, they only had enough money to pay about 7 extras for this movie, or at least 7 clothed extras. Like they could have more people if they didn't need to wear togas, but I reckon they had a very limited costume budget because we just get this one shot of her and Clodius and a few other people sitting there in the Colosseum, and there's never a wide shot because they only had a few people. And then they incorporate footage from I've tried to find what film that is from, and I couldn't find it, but it's from an old 60s peplum film, like you said, that obviously had a higher budget. But the difference in stock in film quality is very evident. Perhaps that would have been less evident on VHS, but
I don't know, maybe, but it seems like it would have to be evident regardless of the format, mainly because the film, so suddenly those shots are, high, obviously a higher budget and a lower film quality because they're being copied from this old movie somewhere. And I don't know what movie it's from either. I kept searching around trying to find out which film those sequences were taken from. But I mean, they're not fooling anybody. So
no. But all that stuff is quite good, obviously, because that hasn't been directed by Chuck Vincent.
There's that.
It's all quite good stuff. And they use footage. So ultimately, obviously, because this is Pompeii, we know what's coming, and we get the inevitable volcano and lava flow. But most of that is taken from another film as well.
Yep.
There's a bit of fire.
It's not impressive at all. We have this handful of people who escape into a field and then, say goodbye like they accomplished something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Did she come here to do this on purpose? It's never really clear. She's not really that much of a warrior. She certainly isn't a queen.
No.
Really? I mean, she's the consort of the emperor. They didn't have
queens. And from what we're told, she's more of she's just a mistress. So it's, she has definitely got a level of importance within the social structure, but she's not really royalty. I don't know.
Nope. And she never wears a metal bikini.
Which is, I'll admit, is frustrating. There is that weird one sequence where she wears that red outfit that's got like metal over her chest, which is strange. Yeah. But that's about it.
Yeah, she just mostly looks bored, which is either good acting or she was just bored. But Variety, so in the review I got from Variety, they said, no one can sneer with the authority of Denning. So they kind of signaled her out for some praise. And they said it's a below average exploitation pick without enough action or flesh to please fans of the genre. Though they, of course, were watching the 69-minute version, which did actually get a premiere at the Egyptian Theatre in LA.
Really?
Yeah, it played theatrically at the Egyptian before being released for video. So at least once, anyway. But it was only the 69, the R-rated cut that they saw. It was released in its full glory in Italy, and then also that 79-minute version came to the UK but was trimmed a little bit. But I read a UK review of the VHS release that said third-rate dubbed nonsense about the last days of Pompeii, which might, because of a come on cover, persuade you to give it a look. Don't bother.
I'll just say, I'll quote this.
Yeah, what did yours say?
Well, I'll quote this from the Los Angeles Times review. Says, give credit to director Chuck Vincent, who doesn't waste our time with any extraneous chatter. Sybil Danning doesn't say a word for the first half hour she's on screen, which is not necessarily meant as a criticism. In fact, there's very little dialogue at all. It's almost as if the film were somehow made just as talkies were being invented, and the producers only had time to go back and tack on a few dialogue scenes. This would be delightful, of course, if Vincent was a gifted storyteller. Unfortunately, he has all the visual grace of someone who put in a decade staging headache remedy commercials. His love scenes are about as erotic as a golf tournament, while his gladiator brawls look like they were choreographed by a guy who dresses a salad bar.
Wow.
The good news, this being Pompeii after all, is that a gigantic volcanic eruption brings these body proceedings to a speedy halt. As Sam Arkoff once described an equally dreary costume epic, if you can't make it a better picture, you can always make it a shorter picture.
That is a good line.
It is a great line, isn't it?
One person we haven't mentioned, David Brandon.
Oh yeah, well, we passed him by.
Who's probably along with Donald Pleasence, he's doing some real acting in this film.
He's got a really juicy character to play. Well, he's the guy who runs the House of Venus, which is the what essentially seems to be a bordello.
Yeah.
And I always like watching David Brandon. I think he's one of those guys who God only knows exactly how or why. He was in so many trashy Italian films at this period of time.
Yeah.
And not all of them great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but you know, I'm always happy to see him pop up because you're right. He is somebody who does always seem to bring his A game, regardless of the letter grade you would assign to the script. So
yeah.
He's actually doing a good job here, and he actually gets to be a pretty vicious, mean-spirited guy who murders a few people on screen there in his last scene, which is fun.
Mm-hmm. And he's wearing an eye patch, isn't he?
Yes, over his left eye, yeah.
So, you know, that's good character development right there. Just stick an eye patch on it, or automatically makes you more interesting, even if it's never referred to.
So it's a fine point. You're right.
Yeah, but I just looking at his credits in 1987. He did 7 things.
Wow.
All in Italy, including Warrior Queen, Stage Fright, 11 Days, 11 Nights, and Delirium.
Yeah.
All came out in that same year. Plus, he turned up in an episode of Turno di Notte, which was that sort of mystery, giallo type TV show that Dario Argento produced.
Well, he worked with Lamberto Bava in several things as the years went on. So he's just one of those guys.
Yeah, that's a pretty good year.
Yeah. I mean, 87, I'm guessing that was, you know, a very busy year, but most of those years in the 80s, he's in at least 5 or 6 different productions of some type. So
yeah. And it was only a couple of years after this that he has one of the lead roles in Beyond Darkness, which is the other Utah horror film shot by Claudio Fagresso that's not Troll 2, but he's very good in that. And that's a really interesting film.
It is an interesting film.
There's a really amazing opening sequence shot in a real maximum security prison and in a real death chamber, whatever you want to call it, electric chair chamber.
It's true. We actually covered that years ago on The Bloody Pit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting film. Yeah, but anyway, so I don't know not much else really to say about the plot. She goes around occasionally rescuing people, but sometimes she seems to wait a bit too long to turn up.
She does.
And some of the damage has already been done. And then at the end, they kind of escape. And yeah, you're not sure if that was her plan all along, or if again she's just kind of reacting. It's almost like she's reacting to what's happening, but trying to take the credit. Oh yeah, I was gonna do this all along.
What? Oh yeah, well there's that. But I have to tell you, man, I think this is our first big stumble in this season. This is the first film that I look at and I realize, if either of us had seen this before, we might have opted for something different, because this is bland city. There's not a lot to chew on here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's, I mean, say what you wish about Puma Man, but Puma Man did not bore you. You know, Puma Man actually kept you glued to the screen just to see what bizarre way they were going to try to fake having a budget next.
I mean, it's like cooking, isn't it? Like this film has got all the right ingredients to make a really good movie. So it's hard to understand what went wrong. You know, it's like the chef just put them all into the pot in the wrong order, or the wrong amounts, or forgot to put some salt in. I don't know.
I think
the analogy doesn't quite work.
I think it was the wrong chef.
For the wrong chef, exactly right. Because it's got all the ingredients. You've got Sybil Danning. She could have been a kick-ass warrior Roman queen woman.
Yeah.
You've got volcanoes. You've got gladiators. You've got penthouse pets. There's a lot of potential here. You've got orgy sequences. You've got Roman locations, kind of very low budget Roman locations. There's a lot of potential, and for some reason it just it doesn't stack up.
Yeah, it kind of lays there like a moldy piece of cheese. There's just nothing that's that interesting about it. I mean, it barely has a pulse, and that's odd to say when the film has this much nudity.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, but I think it's interesting, and certainly, as we said, the story of the fact that it got made at all is quite interesting.
Well, I mean, bluntly, as we've already said, Pleasence is the most interesting thing to watch in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a completist, it has to be seen because he is good in it. But it does, and it just shows that if the paycheck was there, he would turn up and do his best, like he did in Puma Man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing.
It's a terrible film, but he's doing his best.
And that's the thing is I keep seeing online people talking about this movie or that movie that Donald Pleasence made. And it's like, why did he make this movie? And it's like I keep wanting to just write down the one phrase, because they paid him, and just copy and paste every time some dumbass asks this question. It's like, why did he make this movie? Money. They paid him money.
Yeah, exactly.
So Warrior Queen, not my favorite of the season so far.
No. I can already imagine where it's going to sit in the eventual ranking of these films.
Well, there's still at least one or two that we're going to cover that I've not seen as well. So who knows? Maybe there'll be another movie fighting it out. But... True.
Well, let's tell people what's coming next so that they can join in, play along at home. So the next film is Spectre,
which was put out on Blu-ray here in the States just, I think, last year.
Yes, Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Vinegar Syndrome double bill with... what was the other one on that set?
I don't remember.
There's two. I can't remember. There's two films in there anyway. Both mid-80s kind of horror type thing. So we're going back to horror with this one. There is a little snippet of dialogue from Spectre in the opening theme for this season. So even if you've never seen it, you've heard a little bit of it.
You've heard something.
And it's about it's basically archaeology uncovering and something evil for a change, which tends to just be the way it goes with archaeology.
That's the thing about movies, is that horror movies have taught me that archaeology is one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet, and I'm not sure that's true.
Exactly. Yeah, it all goes back to M.R. James, I guess. Don't dig anything up.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't. If you dig up a musical instrument, don't play it.
And if you go looking for the British Crown, do not dig it up.
Yeah. No, we should just bury them all. So that's coming up. That's coming up next time. So do watch or find it. It might be online somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, the Blu-ray's pretty good.
I do not know. But folks, regardless, if you have any comments, if you actually think Warrior Queen is a good movie, I need you to let us know, because I would love to know. I would love to have a defense of this film. Let's
have some defenders.
Yeah, please. Warrior Queen, 1987. Surely someone out there, it's your favorite movie, right? Tell me about it.
Speaking of feedback, we had some from one of our listeners. Tom sent a message on Facebook that I thought I would just share before we finish. He said, "Thanks to you and Rod for another very insightful and thoroughly entertaining Wild Wild podcast entry for Cobra Mission. A film that, to be fair, based on your comments, I'm not going to rush right into watching. But of course, I will in time, as Donald is in it. The main reason for offering up my 3 cents about this entry are to thank you both for your thoughtful observations about the subgenre that this film fits into and the time period in which it was made. Historical context that's definitely worthy of careful consideration, and I greatly appreciated both of your comments in this regard. Well, thank you very much. I think, we tried to tread fairly carefully with Cobra Mission and putting it into context and the sort of reality of that period and what the films were talking about.
Yeah.
Historical context is what I'm all about, I would say.
That's what I try to be about, but sometimes I'm just staring at things and wondering how this happened. So yeah.
No, I think that's nice. Thank you. And then the second comment: in terms of the movie itself, your extensive and most enjoyable recognition of some wonderful actors in the film who are all faves of mine: Luciano Pigozzi, John Steiner, Gordon Mitchell, and of course Donald Pleasence. Cheers, gents. Looking forward to the next installment as always. And then he signs off, and because we did ask for this. I have also been in a helicopter, and like jumping out of a plane with a parachute that thankfully opened, it was thrilling and memorable, and I just really don't see myself doing it ever again.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I've never been in a helicopter, and that's unlikely to change.
I understand. I do understand.
Or at least not one that was flying. I mean, I've sat in a helicopter on the ground, but that was enough. I went in which one is it? The ABBA album Arrival has the four of them sitting in a helicopter on the cover of the album. And a couple of years ago, I went to the ABBA Museum in Stockholm. You can sit in a replica of the helicopter and recreate the album cover for yourself. So that'll do.
So that is your adventure.
That's my helicopter experience.
In a museum. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, in the helicopter in the ABBA Museum. But I tell you what I do like. I really like a Chinook. You know, those big double-bladed, long...
Yeah, the kind of army-style helicopters, yeah.
They're really cool. I do like a Chinook. I'm always pleased when I see one of those flying overhead. One time I was driving up the motorway and a Chinook flew overhead really low, and then some guys jumped out with parachutes right next to the road. That was very exciting.
Oh.
So I think I could go in a Chinook because that feels more like a bit more substantial than a helicopter, you know. If anyone's listening,
I think you're working. You're slowly working yourself up to to doing this, and that is not what I hoped would happen. We need to keep your feet on the ground, my friend. I don't know where this is going.
Anyone's got access to a Chinook and wants to take me for a ride, I'd happily come along. Anyway, I think we need to leave it there. Let's wrap things up. Thank you everybody for listening once again to us talk about Donald Pleasence.
Let us point you toward the link tree about the podcast. Don't forget the t-shirts, the various t-shirts in the t-shirt store that you can find the link to on the link tree. Just look in the show notes for the episode.
Very good. Thank you, Rod. You're much better at this than me.
I'm trying to make things easier as we get to the end of these shows, because we both sit here stumbling around going, what are we doing again? I know, right? How did we do this?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, do let us know if you watch Warrior Queen. We'd love to know what you think of it. So
definitely,
it is out there. You can find it. So
it's not hard. I think it's even on Tubi for those who are intrigued enough to check it out. I'm not sure which cut of the film though. I'm not sure which length cut.
I mean, I imagine even the 69-minute version is probably quite dull. But maybe if it's trimmed out some of the really long orgy sequences, you can focus a bit more just on how funny Donald Pleasence is. So
this is
maybe
true.
That's the one to go with. Okay, thanks everybody for listening. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
The puma man, we must find him and kill him.